Hi, you guys. Happy Thursday. Look, I told you earlier this week that I was going to make or that I had made a souffle, and I've been sort of teasing this for a while. I was going to make a souffle with you guys. So it was really good the way it turned out. And actually I made a couple changes based on that. So we're going to do that together tonight. It is a corn and chili souffle. So it's sort of like a cross between it's a souffle, but it tastes like a cross between like corn pudding and jalapeno cornbread or something, okay? It's really nice. We're also gonna make some tequila-lime chicken. Now that I have the oven preheated at 400 for the souffle. I'm gonna do the chicken on a grill pan. If there's a thunderstorm about to happen, and actually I got rid of my grill too, so, but you could also grill it, okay? So over here, and I've had this sitting in its marinade for, a few hours, and put it in a dish like this because you never know if your bag is gonna be seaworthy or not. And then, since this one hasn't leaked, I can put the cooked chicken in here just to stay warm in the oven if I need to. But in this marinade is like a half a cup of tequila and a quarter of a cup of olive oil and the juice of 2 limes and some garlic, like 6 cloves of garlic. And I just smashed those. I didn't chop them. I didn't mince them because I don't actually want the garlic on the chicken when I grill it because it burns it and it kind of gets a little gross. So salt and pepper, okay? And that's it. And I'm just gonna leave this out to kind of get a little bit closer to room temperature while I'm doing this souffle. The souffle is gonna take about 45 minutes to cook. So we're gonna make the souffle, we're gonna put it in the oven. Then when the souffle is done, I'm gonna knock the oven down from 400 to like 200 just for keeping the chicken warm. And, maybe make a margarita and have that while I'm waiting. So anyway, that's the game plan, okay? So I have in this kind of like 2-quart pot, I have 3.5 tablespoons of butter. The half tablespoon is for greasing the souffle ramekin. I'm not actually using a whole souffle ramekin. I'm using this guy, which is about the right size for this recipe. You can double it or maybe like 1.5 it and do like a 2-quart souffle. Okay. So anyway, so we put it this thing also because it's actually like for pate. It has a lid, so I can put it in the fridge and reheat it later. It's not as poofy if you reheat it later, but it still tastes good. Okay, so I am going to heat up this butter. We're basically just going to make a roux, okay? But before we put the flour in, I'm going to take this little brush and take some of this out and brush the inside of the souffle dish, okay? While that is going, I'm going to grate my cheese because I hadn't done that yet. So this is like Monterey Jack. It's like half like a regular block. Those things are usually 8 ounces. So this is 4 ounces of cheese. And you guys know how I feel about pre-grated cheese. Sometimes it's okay, but it has cellulose in it to keep it from sticking together. And in situations when you're trying to melt something and make it stick together, that's not a plus, right? It's a plus if you're putting it like on tacos. It's a plus if you're trying to, I don't know why it's a plus, but it's a plus for presentation. And that's what matters for a lot of people. So also in advance, I have defrosted a cup of corn, okay? And you really want it defrosted and dry. You do not want any ice crystals on it. If it's still icy, put it through some like warm water, swirl it around, drain it. That's what I ended up having to do. It's just like when we defrost anything else, like the shrimp or something. If you put it in water, because water has like the high specific heat of water, things defrost faster in water than they do in the air. So if you just leave it out on the counter, it could take a couple hours. It's ridiculous how long it takes for corn to defrost without a little help. You could also just pour boiling water over it. Frozen vegetables are already blanched. They're already kind of almost cooked. So like frozen peas, you don't really need to do much to them. So that's that, a cup of corn. okay? And then in this bowl, I have already cut up, and I did this in advance because I didn't want to touch my face or anything else after I'd done this stuff. I have 1 Anaheim pepper, which is this kind, okay? You can use the Poblano pepper. That's what I've used in the past, but they didn't have any when I went the other day. This kind. So just, you know, take the seeds and the ribs out. But the rib is that kind of white spongy stuff. Okay, so it's just one of these really finely diced, see? And then like 4 minced cloves of garlic, okay? And I just want to have that all ready because when we start assembling things, it's going to start happening pretty quickly, okay? And I know probably while I'm waiting for this sauce to firm up, I'm going to be jabbering about something else. Okay, so now I am getting some of this butter out. Can you hear it sizzling? It's kind of like doing its thing here. And I'm just, and you know, you want to do around the sides as well, because it's going to puff up over. So it'll be like I'm doing this edge here too. And my thumb. So that's good. Okay, now to that, I am going to add, so basically when you're doing a roux like this, you do equal parts of flour and butter. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of flour, 2, and just regular flour, you know, all-purpose flour. Okay, no big deal. No fancy flour. Let me get a whisk. I like using my silicone whisk when I'm doing cheese sauces, especially when I'm using these enameled pans, because I don't really like the sound of the metal on the stuff. So you need to cook your flour for about a minute. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit so it doesn't burn. I'm just going to keep doing that. But what else are we going to talk about? Now, oh, this is something. This is a key, a really important key, you guys. I am not going to do my yolks and my whites separately. Okay, I'm not going to do them separately. Why? Well, I'll tell you what. If I were in a lovely old-fashioned French restaurant and I were making a chocolate souffle, you know, like they ask you, are you going to want the souffle for dessert? You need to order in advance. I would do that. Okay, but I'm not. This is like me eating by myself on Thursday night because I had a really big crazy day. And this is one of the ways that you can make souffle just a little bit easier for you. It's not a big deal, okay? As I said, it's almost like corn pudding, this version. You know, you can make like a broccoli one with cheddar instead of Monterey Jack. You can make a spinach one with Gruyere. You could do ham and Gruyere. You know, you could do anything you want to. But what I'm trying to tell you is, you know, it's not exactly perfect, but it's still good and it still puffs up. And one of the things we're going to do, so we want 4 eggs, okay? And actually, now that I should first, to make our sauce, 1.5 cups of half and half. Why half and half? Well, it's funny because, you know, as I've said before, you guys are keeping me honest. I'm just going to pour this in here and whisk it. So I go and look at these things. I felt very vindicated because Jacques Pepin also does. His sort of everyday souffle, he does not separate his eggs. But, you know, I say Jacques Pepin uses whole milk. Martha Stewart uses heavy cream. The Dallas Junior League uses half and half. And that suits me just fine because... Why? Well, because I like my lactose-free half and half. Okay, now, while we're waiting for that to do something, I'm going to turn the heat back up to like higher in the medium scale. Save this for my dog trainer for his eggs. He brings me eggs. Okay. And I give him, in return, all of my cartons. Waste not, want not. Okay, so how are we going to make up for the fact that that we're not separating our eggs? Well, we're just not going to beat our eggs very well. This is not a situation like when you're making cookies or cake where you want the whites and the yolks to be very, very well done. Like when I'm doing scrambled eggs, I beat them for a few minutes because I really want them well integrated. You know, I don't like it when they're, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. But So instead, what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna kind of do it in the way that they're still looking a little swirly. Do you see that? You can still see little bits of white and yolk swirling around there, and I almost have to like fight myself not to do a better job than that. Okay, because you do still want some of that white in there. It provides the same amount of loft, or it's not the same. I know it's not the same, but it'll be fine. Believe me, it's delicious. Can you hear that thunder? Maybe you can't hear it. I can hear it. We're about to have a, can you tell it's kind of dark? It's darker than it should be at this time of day. We're about to have a thunderstorm. Now, I'm letting this cream sauce boil a little bit. Now, you don't want to let it boil for very long. Just as long as it takes to kind of thicken up a little bit. Okay, that's perfect. It's like a minute. Okay, just like with the cooking of the flour. We just want it to go for about a minute. Now, this is kind of when things start happening quickly. You do not want your eggs to scramble in your sauce. So before I add the eggs, I'm gonna add this cold corn, right? Just directly to the pot. And I will say too, another thing, you can use canned chilies if you want to, but I don't recommend it because they're wetter. And I mean, do as you want to. Actually, a lot of times the chilies in the can are Anaheim chilies. There's something for you. Now I'm gonna put this stuff in there too. Okay, so we've got our cream sauce. I'm just gonna show you what this looks like. At this point, it's kind of funny. It looks like the, like a sausage gravy, but with veg, right? And I'm gonna add this cheese, okay? And I'm just gonna let that kind of do its thing for a minute before I add the eggs, because it's still really steamy, okay? And this is not a situation where you can kind of temper the eggs, but I'm just gonna go over everything again while we're kind of waiting for that to do its thing. We made a roux with 3 tablespoons of butter, 3.5, because we put some in the gratin. 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 tablespoons of flour. Then we added a cup and a half of half and half, right? And then we let it do its thing. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, like a half a teaspoon of salt, and some pepper. Should have done that earlier. And then like 4 ounces of grated Monterey Jack, and our Anaheim pepper, and our 4 cloves of minced garlic, okay? And I'm gonna add the eggs here in a second. Oh, see, still, even so, those things get me. Okay, I'm gonna add the eggs. And you know, I'm gonna get something stiffer to finish stirring this and turning it out into the bowl, into the thing, the whatever, the whatever it's called. What is that thing called? It's not a gratin because I'm actually using a terrine. It's a terrine. So we've got this guy. Now another reason that I used garlic, garlic partly because, you know, it takes up less volume, okay? And it has less water in it than an onion, okay? Food for thought. Be thinking of your chemistry, because souffles are not a big deal, but they are a matter of chemistry, okay? And this is very full, but that's okay. It's going to puff up, but it's not really going to overturn or overrun your oven, okay? I'm gonna put this in right now. And then we're gonna leave it alone for 45 minutes, okay? And then when it comes out, I'll do the chicken. You basically wanna do the chicken about 3 minutes aside, and then, you know, put it in the warm oven to just keep it warm while you're kind of doing your other stuff, okay? I think that's it. Have a great night. I'll talk to you soon, bye.